intern at the Dinner Table Docs Set the Table internship. And today I'm here to introduce our senior brunch event. At the dinner table, we strive to create a safe environment for girls from ages 10 to 18, and we also provide opportunities to prepare for your future. Today at our senior brunch event, we have planned games, workshops, and opportunities to make friends and win prizes. Pay attention closely today. Our most active participant will win a prize at the end of our event. To win, you could use our chat option, use your microphone, or take advantage of the reaction button. But for now, we ask if you could please stay muted as we introduce our event. Earlier in this month, we provided you guys with a box. Please have this box near you as you would need materials during our event. Now, the other leaders and the other hosts from our internship will introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Satira, and I'm from New Jersey. I am a fellow at the Dinner Table Doc. I coordinate social media, and we also all collaboratively help coordinate this event. I will be leading the 8th graders networking workshop along with Anicia.
My name is Brittany. I internship with the dinner table, and I'll be helping with the networking workshop with the high school.
Hi everyone, my name is Anicia. I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I'm also an intern / fellow at the Dinner Table Doc, and I will be running the networking along with Satira. And what I do is that I create graphics for anybody who's like participating in our program.
And now we'd like to take the opportunity to introduce our workshop leaders to you guys.
So today we have Melody and Monica who will be doing our mental health part of the senior bunch. They will be talking about imposter syndrome and coping skills and how to move on to your next part of your life.
Also touching upon mental health, we have Miss Jade, who is the assistant vice president of people development and learning at L'Oreal, and she will help us focus on affirm positive affirmations into our life.
Now we'll be moving forward to workshop number 2, financial literacy. We have Dominique. She's a financial analyst for UCLA. She'll be focusing on the financial literacy proportion of the brunch. She will also focus on points pertaining to budgeting 101 and homing on budgeting.
Next, we have Nia Phillip. She's a content creator and an entrepreneur, and she will be conducting workshops on budgeting and financial.
Finally, we have Ashley Wiggins, who is a program control analyst at Northrop Grumman. She is a Morgan State University alum, and she is also part of Zeta Phi Beta sorority. She will be presenting a budgeting workshop.
And then our last workshop is networking. So we'll split up the 8th graders and the 12th graders, and we'll just talk and have fun and make friends. And then today our activities are networking and socializing. We have Kahoot games, and we have a new game called Hot Topic that we'll talk about more when it comes to the game.
We also have a keynote speaker for today, and she is Daphne Frias. She is a 23-year-old disabled youth activist who worked with March for Our Lives. She's passionate about ending gun violence and fighting against climate change, and she's just a dynamic person. She's just so inspirational, and you're gonna love listening to her speak at the end. So at the conclusion of this event, we will have the final toasting, which is what we sent in our boxes with the lemonade, whether you choose to use the can or the powder. So have that handy at the end. But now, since we've all had this all explained, now you know that you need to participate, and we're gonna get started with our first workshop. Miss Jade, you have the floor.
Thanks to Tira and Brittany and Anicia and Elitza and Ms. Asha. What an amazing event that you have put on for us. I'm so excited to see everyone. For this section, we're going to talk about mindfulness. How are we going to be here right now so we could squeeze all the juiciness out of the event today and take away some really great things to help us move forward into our future and ourselves for the rest of the day. If you feel a little bit tired, something that you can do to energize yourself is, again, take a few deep breaths, getting that oxygen running through our bodies. And we're going to talk about, now that we are centered and calm and relaxed, this is the best state for our mind to be primed for the things that we want to be, the things we want to do in the future. So this is where affirmations can come from. Bring out your piece of paper now and think about, what affirmations do we tell ourselves? And affirmations really can be something positive, and that's what we want, something that's going to light our life up. Affirmations can also be maybe less positive, right? So sometimes I tell myself, I'm tired, I can't do this, I'm not ready. And when I do that, I'm just affirming that into my life, right? I'm telling myself that that's what I want in my life. In a past dinner table doc event, Dr. Stacy Grant reminded us that our mind believes everything that we tell it. Our mind believes everything that we tell it. So mindfulness can help us be super aware of what we're telling our minds, so that if it isn't something as positive, or maybe it's not true, then we can say, okay, time out, pause. That thought maybe is not true. It's okay that I have that thought, because we're human and that's going to happen. So I just tell myself, oh, self, thank you for thinking that thought. I love you, but that's not true. And I'm going to pivot and start to say positive affirmations that are going to start rippling through my life. So an affirmation is a statement that allows us to breathe whatever that statement is into our life. It can be a mantra, it could be something that you tell yourself every day to get you pumped up for the rest of the day. And I love affirmations that are to the point, short, and easy to remember so that we can say them all the time to ourselves. So I like to start my affirmations with I am. And we say them as if they already are. Maybe we're not quite there yet. That's totally okay. But the more we tell our minds that I am loved, I am enough, I am beautiful, our mind starts to believe it. So this is the hack. This is the secret, right? When we start to tell ourselves all the things that we want to bring into our lives, our minds start to believe it. So some of my favorite affirmations, as I mentioned, is I am loved. I am loved, so that I remember every time I don't feel that way, I am loved. I know that I am. I am safe. I am safe. Some of the things that I tell myself, that I get caught up in fear of not being liked, or fear of not saying the right thing. It is okay, because you are important. We need to hear your voice. We need to see your heart. So know that I am safe. And if I am not physically safe, or I'm not mentally safe, then that's okay. Start to notice and reach out for help so that you can start to feel and cultivate that safety for yourself. Because when we feel safe, when we feel grounded, when we feel connected to all of each other and to a greater purpose, that is when magic happens. That is when we start creating the life that is going to light us up and light others around us. So take a moment now and write down on your paper 5 different affirmations for yourself. What does that look like? What do you want to affirm in your life? And start to think about, these are things that I hope you will start to tell yourself every day. So make them short, easy to remember, and powerful. I am powerful. I am light. I am capable. I am special. I am loved. I am enough. Whatever is going to make you feel most like yourself, the best version of you. What does that look like? Take a moment to write it down. And if you like, put in the chat what your affirmations are to help give others some idea. And remember, you are all of those things, all of those things. So every day, remember, ground, connect, fix that crown, stand up tall, and remember who you are. Fill yourself up with those positive affirmations, because when you do it every day, you will not go 24 hours without resetting and remembering that you are amazing. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here with you.
Thank you so much, Ms. J. This was amazing.
And now it is time for our Impostor Syndrome workshop. Yay!
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Happy Sunday.
Oh my God, you guys are so amazing. So my name is Monica. I am one of the founders of H&TT Productions. And just want to open it up and say that we're really excited to be here. We have a great workshop for you. And I'm going to let Melody introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Melody Sheree. I am the founder of HNTT Productions, which stands for Head Not the Tail Productions. And we're really excited to be here. This is our second time. And we are just so grateful that you guys have invited us to come back with you guys to, one, experience this monumental chance in your time in your life for graduating and just moving on to this next step of adulthood, womanhood. And we just want to share any tips, tricks we can to lead you into this next journey. We're really, really excited.
Yes, and we said that we're happy to be back. We're not sure if everyone got the opportunity to tune in. I think it was about 2.5 months ago, but we did a wonderful workshop with a beautiful lady. You know who you are. And it just went so well. You know, even though we were sharing advice, we kind of learned some things too, because you never stop learning. Always remember that you're going to never stop learning. You're always going to learn something new daily. And if you're not learning something new, then you need to check yourself, because you always should be retaining new information no matter what. And so, you know, as this workshop, we're going to talk about two important things. We're going to talk about imposter syndrome, and then we're also going to talk about coping skills. And so all this is going to just like flow right into your adulthood. Again, congratulations on the 2021 graduates. No matter where you're going, if you're going off to college, if you're going off to high school or middle school, it's always a big step, and it's always your next journey. Right. So you always want to try and prepare yourself and get filled up with positive energy, words of just encouragement. And that's what we're here to do. So we are going to talk about imposter syndrome first. And we just want you guys to take a deep breath on the count of 3. This is something that we always do in our workshops. We're going to take one deep breath in, and then we're going to exhale out. And the reason why we do that is because it just opens up your mind. It opens up your spirit, just to be able to receive and retain the information that we're going to be sharing. So on the count of 3, we're going to inhale in. 1, 2, 3, in. 1, 2, 3, out. Let's get started.
Yes, so as Monica mentioned, I would definitely want to give you guys a congratulations, as I said before, on this amazing accomplishment that you guys have completed this year. I mean, just thinking of myself, you guys have weathered through the storms of the pandemic and all of the anxiety and the pressures that has come along, which is the new normal, as I like to call it. I'm sure even doing this event in a virtual space, I don't know. I think this is your second time hosting this. Maybe the last time you guys did this was in person. So just getting used to this new change.
Oh, first time.
Oh, wow. First time.
This is amazing. Okay. So we're part of something great.
Okay, right. I feel like we're breaking ground with you all. So, you know, like we've even said in some of our other workshops, just the whole virtual space. We love to be, you know, in person, because we get a chance to really kind of connect and feel. And so we're just really glad to kind of be here with you, and hope that you're able to, you know, retain and pick up some ideas and just some things to just help move you forward. So congratulations again. Congratulations again.
Woo. And so imposter syndrome, like I'm going to give you my definition of imposter syndrome, and then of course we'll give you the textbook definition. But imposter syndrome is almost like putting on another face, but you feel like you don't quite fit in those shoes. So I'll give you an example of a time where I felt that I was experiencing imposter syndrome. It was at work, and I had to present a meeting to heads of different departments, and it was filled with males. And like I said, they were, you know, high powered in their roles. And I gave my presentation. I was very confident. I knew what I was talking about. I knew what I was doing. I knew my work. I knew my role. But for some reason, when I got done with my presentation, I felt almost like I didn't know what I was talking about. I felt like I was questioning myself in my head that, did I really do as good as I thought I did? Or am I really as smart as I think that I am? And so, of course, none of that was true, because I knew what I was talking about. Of course, you know, everyone after the meeting, they sent emails and they're like, wow, you explained it so clearly. And now we understand what you need. And we're going to jump on this project and that project. And so, again, with imposter syndrome, you question yourself. And so that's what we want to say and talk about today, is that never question yourself. you're always belonging in where you are. If you get into a college and it's a great college, you belong there. Never feel like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I can't do this. I can't do that. If you get into a company and a role and you're doing your work and you always question yourself daily, I don't know if I'm doing this. Always remember that you're qualified. If you're in a space, believe me, you're qualified to be there, because if you weren't, you wouldn't have the opportunity. And so when you have these opportunities, always seize them, because opportunities can come far and few between, and never question yourself. Always know that you're good enough, that you're a whole being, that whatever it is that you're doing, that you have positive ancestors around you that are constantly encouraging you and rooting you to go on to the next level.
Right, right. That was definitely, a great example of sharing, with these young ladies as they're moving to their next journey. I know many of you, maybe everyone's kind of going in different directions. Some of you may be heading off to college. Some of you may be starting your career. It's not a one-stop shop for all of us. And so for myself, when you talked about imposter syndrome, just kind of like having those moments of anxiety and not feeling like maybe you belong in a space, really questioning yourself, I would probably say that happened for me out of high school going into college. And one of my weaknesses, I would say now, many years later, was speech class. Every time, and that was a requirement, one of your prerequisites that you needed. And oh my goodness, it just seems like my stomach would hurt. I wanted to like just quit the class every time it was the moment was to get up there and share your paper and just speak. And I always doubted myself. I always just felt like I would hear other people get up there and give their speech, and it was just like, oh, they did so great. I felt like they were better than me. And I just had to really be kind to myself, kind of like, I'm not perfect. Maybe I might get up there and flub a little bit. Maybe I might skip over. Maybe I don't hit every mark that I even thought. Sometimes we have, our everything planned out, journaled out to exactly how we want things to be. But like we talk about in many of our workshops, leave room, leave space for error, leave space for mistake. None of us are perfect. Even to this day, I still make errors on things that I do, on speeches that I have, on presentations that I do for work. And it's really okay. We just kind of pick off where we left off and continue on with it. And so I really want you guys just to know, don't be hard on yourself, be kind. And like I said, leave that space and continue to learn and grow. I think all of us know we get better with time. You guys are seniors getting ready to go into the next level of, your adulthood. I'm sure if you think about when you were in junior high, when you were in the elementary, you can see all of the accomplishments and your growth that you even made from then to now. And so, like we always talk about, leave space to even just reward the small accomplishments, right? And so when I think of imposter syndrome, it's just, know that everyone experiences that, and just give yourself space, be kind, love on yourself, and just continue to grow and learn from that. And what you're doing now, continue to just look for others that can help motivate and inspire you, and you will see yourself continue just to grow in some of those areas where you might have felt a little bit insecure or felt anxiety. Over time, it would just be like nothing.
Yes. And just to give you guys, so that's our definition, and we've definitely experienced it in our lifetime, and you guys will experience it. And so, the textbook definition, it's pretty much doubting your abilities. Even though you guys are going to go off and go to these great colleges and you're going to, obtain so much knowledge, there may be a time where you doubt your abilities. You doubt that you're smart. You doubt that you can speak. You doubt that you can do it, And so what we want to say is never dwell on your mistakes. Never dwell on them. Notice them. That's okay to notice your mistakes, but you're not going to dwell on your mistakes. You're going to brush it off. You're going to figure out, how can I improve? Hey, if I was speaking in front of people and let's just say I started to get a little bit nervous and I started to flub a little bit. Okay, how can I improve that? What is it that I can do? Can I go home in the mirror and say the speech in the mirror? Can I gather some family and friends to practice the speech in front of them? So there's always ways to improve, but you're just not going to dwell on it. You're not going to dwell on the negative things, because negative can take up more space and it can live rent-free in your head only if you allow it to. So again, one thing, if you don't take anything from this workshop, I don't want you to dwell on your mistakes, because you're gonna keep going. That's what we're here for. We're only humans. We're just people. We're not perfect, even though, you know, we want to be, but we're not perfect. We're gonna make mistakes. We're gonna trip. We're gonna fall, but you're gonna get back up, right? So you're gonna trip, you're gonna fall, but you're gonna get back up. We all have done it. You're gonna do it. Trust me, your family members, your friends, it will happen. And that's why I love this space of the dinner doc, because you have supportive people, supportive women around you that's going to continue to embrace you and continue to tell you, hey, that's okay. Right. Keep going, keep going. And so, like Melody mentioned, you're going to get better with time. I mean, a lot of you are like 10 steps ahead of most of us because you have this space with Dinner Doc. And that's why we love coming and talking, because it almost rejuvenates my spirit, because I know that if I was your age and I had something like this that I can attend or have mentors like you have at the Dinner Doc, I think that I'm okay now, but I probably would be much better. So you guys have a big advantage, and just take advantage of what you have here. Never think that an opportunity is too small.
Right. And you know, yeah, shout out to all of the leaders and the mentors that's behind this. This is an amazing opportunity that you guys are providing for these young girls. And, you know, like Monica said, you know, no opportunity is too small. You know, as you continue on with your journey, you know, you're gonna look at other people's success and the road, that path that they may have taken to get to their destination. And everyone's path is going to be different. So you have to learn that. There is no one size fits all, I like to say. So like I said, many of you may be going on to college. You might be going on to, maybe you're going to work first. Or how about, you know, some of you guys are going to different type of academic institutions. Someone might be going off to Ivy League. Someone may be attending a junior college. Someone might be going on where they're just going to get certification. All of it is still worthy of accomplishment. So don't look at an opportunity as being too small. And one thing I always like to say, I did that to myself. When I graduated from high school, first I didn't know, like, did I want to go into my career field? I was kind of in I would probably say a little bit of a confused state, because sometimes as you're moving to adulthood, it gets overwhelming, right? We don't know what we want to do. You've done all these years of schooling, and sometimes you might feel like, I really just want to break, but you got to continue on. And so my first step was junior college. And so I remember one time someone asked me, you know, do you go to school? And I said, yeah. They're like, well, what school did you go to? And I said, oh, I just go to junior college. That person told me, don't say you just go to junior college. That's an amazing accomplishment, and you're still on your path to success. But it was kind of like, I felt like, because I was attending junior college, it wasn't the Ivy League college, or it wasn't at the time, you know, a 4-year institution, that it just felt like maybe it wasn't enough. And so I had to continue to motivate myself that it doesn't matter. Schooling, having to do the work that you do in junior college or 4-year college, it still all requires, you know, discipline. And so I had to really boost myself up to say, hey, here I am, you know, so many years later, and I ended up going to a 4-year college, finished my junior college successfully, went on to a 4-year college, and actually went on to obtain my master's degree. So, you know, I just learned that no opportunity is too small. Everyone's path is going to look different, and you can get there. And so, you know, just know that. Just be kind to yourself and enjoy your journey. Enjoy even the success, the failures. Just enjoy the ride.
Yes, and that's a great story. I love your story that you went from junior college to getting your MBA. That's a huge accomplishment. And so I know we talked about the people that are going off to college, but we also have some of our ladies that are going to high school. Okay. And high school is a big thing. You know, this is your next 4 years of your life. This is the next journey. This is your next journey right next to adulthood. Yeah. So when you're in high school, always get those opportunities. If you have an opportunity to become, you know, I know when I was in high school, they would have it to where you can become like a teacher's assistant or help out in the classroom. You can collect papers or check papers or whatever is needed from the teacher. Do things like that. I know I took a oral communications class in high school. If you see that on the roster, try and take it. Ask your counselor, can you take that? Be in connection with your counselors at high school. Right. They are there to support you the same way that dinner doc, that these mentors, these great mentors are here to support you. You also have mentors right at your high school. So always utilize that. Don't let the counselors brush you off. Don't let them cancel appointments on you. Always take that opportunity, because what you're going to do is you're going to talk with them and they're going to be with you throughout your 4 years. Right. And that's going to be your key to getting into college, wherever you decide to go. If you want to go to a junior college, if you want to go to a 4-year college, that counselor is going to be there to help you. And of course, you have these outside groups like Dinner Doc that are obviously going to help you. But again, take all the opportunity that's there. If you have 3 or 4 people willing to help you, use them all. Don't just say, I want to go to this person because I feel comfortable with them. No, utilize every avenue that you have. That's right. And so, you know, another thing I want to say for all of our students that are going off to high school, enjoy. Don't get too overwhelmed with the trends, the TikToks, the Instagrams. I know it's important, but I want you guys to give yourself a break from social media. If you are on social media, just give yourself a break. Know that, you know, you're doing the best that you can do. You're thriving, you're striving daily, and you're always going to keep that in the back of your mind, no matter what's happening out there in this social media world. Right, right. So I just wanted to mention that. So congratulations to our students that are also going off to high school. That is also a big deal. Right, right. And as we talked about imposter syndrome, we're going to roll right into coping, and we kind of started to talk about that. But coping skills, you know, you have to realize that depression, anxiety, and stress, all those things are going to come up against you. But one thing you always have to do is you always stay alert. Okay, that's a key word. Stay alert, because depression, negative thoughts, again, they're both not only toxic, but they're very contagious. I know you've probably seen some times where you're just not feeling good, and all of a sudden someone else gravitates to you and they have such a negative story, or they're not feeling good. And so all that is contagious. It all shows in your energy. Energy is very electric-like. So when you're happy and you're coming to a room and you're ready to learn, or you're ready to do whatever it is that you're trying to do, people that are trying to do the same thing, they're going to gravitate towards you. So you won't even have space for a negative energy to come up on you. And so, you know, when we think about depression, be careful with depression. Always surround yourself with positivity, because depression will leave scars. Anxiety, stress, they leave scars. And we don't realize it until we keep going on in life and we realize, wow, I'm a little bit torn because I remember that feeling, or, you know, that feeling brought me down. And so always stay alert. Don't let that depression or anxiety get on you. If you start to feel that you're, let's just say, getting anxiety, breathe. That's one thing that I like to do. I like to breathe. Yeah. Find a friend, find a family member to talk to so that you can express your feelings, so that you don't hold all that in. You don't want to bottle things like that up. It's not healthy for you. Right. You know, it's just not healthy for you at all. Right, right. And like Monica said, bottling things up, repressing all those feelings, not healthy at all. And sometimes I know that it can probably be a little bit, for some people might feel humiliating to even share feelings of, you know, depression, anxiety, or too much stress, because, you know, we're in a world where, hey, we're supposed to be able to do it all, right? You know, and as a woman, as a Black woman of color, or the people attending, you know, we're always seen as, you know, strong, and we can, you know, hold the world on our shoulders. But just know at times it will get overwhelming. You're not the only one who feels that way. So yes, go to someone that you feel that you can trust, that you can share those feelings with. And I'm sure they probably can let you know you're not alone. And sometimes we need that reassurance in life to know that when we're going through things, because we're not always going to be experiencing, you know, joyous moments, when we feel like we can connect with someone who can understand or have been in our shoes, we feel a sense of, you know,
relaxation, we feel a sense of, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to make it, because you're looking at someone who's been through that journey. And so I would definitely say to always, stay in tune with yourself, stay alert, and kind of learn to know those feelings when they're coming, and seek help, seek, just someone that can continue to inspire you and motivate you. So do not let that make you turn inwards and go and be alone, because a lot of times what we do, we can go off and we can kind of just get in a shell and just want to isolate ourselves from others, and that's definitely never the path to go down. You want to continue to go and be present, as they say, shame shame the devil, right? And so just put it out there so that you can continue to be your positive and best self. And
Yes.
self-care is very
Self-care.
important. I didn't learn that till later in life myself, because I was like going, and sometimes you just got to take self-care, can sometimes be doing nothing. We look at self-care, we read about it, we see it on the internet. It's like, oh, I want to go to a nice spa. I want to, sometimes it can just be doing nothing, because we're so used to doing something, right? Even like you said, even if it's been on social media, give that a break. Even learn to take social media breaks at time, right?
Yes, definitely. And tackling depression and anxiety and stress, one thing that I always encourage people, get outdoors, let the fresh air hit you. You would be so surprised how much better you feel when you're feeling down, you're in your house and you just go outside and you just walk. You just walk the streets, you just people watch. If you have a pet, if you have a dog, take your dog on a walk.
Let the sun
just let the sun hit you. Always surround yourself in groups like this. You have these groups for a reason. Again, opportunities, utilize them. That's another way to tackle depression, stress, and anxiety.
Right. Stay active.
Stay active and don't focus on the small things. Always remember there's a big picture in everything that you do. Never get caught up on the small things, because sometimes the small things can bring us into a depressive state, can bring us to have anxiety, to have stress. All those things, all you need to do is take a deep breath and try again. Brush yourself off, brush the dust off, and you're going to try again the next day. Trust me, we've all been there. We still experience that on a day-to-day, but we keep picking up and we keep moving forward. Always remember, you have a bank account. So your energy and all that, it's like a bank account. You always want to deposit money into your bank account, deposit good things, healthy things. You never want to deposit negativity, because it's going to leave you at a negative balance. And we never want that.
No, you never want that. And, as we begin to wrap this up, like Monica said, just learn to just seize the moment, right? Enjoy this journey, the good, the bad, the ugly. None of us are perfect. And just always know that even if you make a mistake, if something happens, don't let shame, fear, guilt hold you down for continuing on the path to your best self. That's the beautiful thing about waking up to a new day. It's a new day to try again, go harder. Whatever happened the day before, let it go. Don't dwell on the past. We can't change the past. All we can do is build toward a better future and continue on your best self.
Yes. And I want to leave you guys with something. I love reading this book. It's a Maya Angelou book of all her sayings and poems and things like that. So I want to leave you guys with this. Maya Angelou says, energy is like electricity to me. So when I work, I try to put myself in a mood that creates friction. I'm going to repeat that one more time. Energy is like electricity to me. So when I work, I try to put myself in a mood that creates friction. So go out in the world, make a positive impact, do what you're passionate at, show love, be kind, and be positive. And we just want to encourage you guys on your new journey, whether you're going to high school or you're going off to college, or if you're just going to go take a break and go work a job. All those things, you can do it with positivity. You can do it with strength and courage.
Right. Continue to live your best life.
Yes.
Congratulations, everyone. Thank you again for having us here. We are just humbled by this experience.
Energy, and I don't know, I enjoyed it. I hope you guys did too. We're actually about to transition into our keynote speaker, and it's not Asha, and it's not Miss Jade. It's Miss. She is a 23-year-old youth activist who is unapologetically Latina. She has cerebral palsy, so she uses a wheelchair to ambulate. She is fiercely proud to be a loud champion for the disabled community. She got her start shortly after the Parkland shooting by busing over 100 students from her college campus to the nearest March for Our Lives event. In July of 2019, she was appointed as the New York State Director for March for Our Lives, included her one-year tenure in June of 2020. Through her work with March for Our Lives, she became passionate about increasing youth voter turnout amongst 18 to 29-year-olds. As a result, she created her own nonprofit called Box the Ballot, which aims to harness the power of absentee ballots. By partnering with students on college campuses, Box the Ballots was able to collect nearly 470,000 absentee ballots in the 2018 midterms. Fighting the climate crisis is something she is equally as passionate about. She was born and raised in West Harlem, New York City, and she has seen how minority communities are disproportionately affected by climate change. Having been an official spokesperson from the global climate strikes on September 20th, she has no intention of backing down until the health of our Earth is secure. Her passions for advocacy propelled her to run from County Committee Woman of Assembly District 70, Election District 80 in West Harlem. In June of 2019, Daphne won her election and continues to work hard to represent her constituents. In spring of 2019, she was appointed as one of North American regional focal points for Sustainable Development Goal 16 at the UN Major Group for Children and Youth. In this position, she works to highlight and represent the voice of her fellow youth and the work they are doing to become pivotal peacemakers. Currently, she continues to stay passionate about creating change as a freelance organizer. She spends her time speaking at various colleges, summits, and panels. In addition, she consults with nonprofits, crafting engaging campaigns highlighting the voices of Gen Z. Now, I leave the floor to our dynamic keynote speaker.
Everyone. Thank you, Satira, for that amazing introduction. I'm so excited to be here with you all today. I'm so excited. I'm joyful for you all and your accomplishments for graduating and just sticking it out through this crazy year. I just had a good start. I wanted this to be sort of a little bit of a untraditional where I share more about my storytelling and my journey. And then I leave a little bit of time at the end for any questions I don't have. I like to be open to active especially and really creating conversations between the one that I need to take to. So as before mentioned in my introduction, advocacy and social justice is where I thrive, it's where I find joy. It's also part of my resistance to keep going and to keep sustainable. So one of the stories I wanted to share with y'all today is actually in my current position. It's not for this my bio, but I currently am an advisor for the Biden administration out of the White House. My job there entails for me to be a youth advocate for all things Gen Z. So I basically represent my voice and y'all's voice within the White House walls. So I work on issues such as the climate crisis. Okay, give me one second. My phone has a bit. I'm gonna do a question. Can you all hear me better now? Yes?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. Okay, so as I was saying, I work to represent y'all's voices within the walls of the White House. So currently, I am primarily a gun violence prevention advisor, making sure that the voices of young people and the voices of youth of color are heard within the gun violence prevention space. Um, if you aren't familiar, about 5 weeks ago, the Biden administration, right around day 89 of his administration, released a comprehensive gun violence prevention platform. It is something that hadn't been seen around over 30 years. And about 95% of that platform was um, part of my work and part of the team in the office that I helped to spearhead. And it was an incredible honor to be part of that project. But there were definitely a lot of challenges that I faced, and challenges that I continue to face, being one of the youngest staffers in the White House, being one of the few people of color within the White House, and being the only disabled staff member on staff at the moment. And throughout this process, it's been difficult at times. I've second guessed myself as to my worth for being there. If I have the right skills to do this job. Um, there are many individuals, especially in the hierarchy of the White House, and people who have been in government quite a long time, who believe that I am unfit to do my job. And I come here today to tell you that all the things that people think make you less than, that make you weaker, the communities we come from, the families we are part of, all of those things make us uniquely special. And those are all the things that make us absolutely powerful to hold positions like these and any positions of leadership that you all wish to see yourselves in the future. Um, I also think it's important to remember that, uh, you know, there isn't a right time to start this work. When you feel called to do this work, when you feel motivated to do this work, when your heart is telling you that something is wrong in your community, that something is troubling you and your people, that is when the right time is. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter your gender identity, your racial background. Your voice is powerful no matter what. And I think uh, a lot of adults around us, especially in positions of power, like to tell us that we have to be perfectly molded, that we have to have all the perfect qualifications in order to be able to achieve what we want to achieve. And that isn't true. We already have the power within us to be great and to be as successful as we want to be. Um, as mentioned in my bio, additionally, I am also an elected representative in my district. I won my election 2 years ago, and in a couple weeks I will be ending my term. And throughout this process, I've had many challengers and many other officials within the city um, tell me that I'm unfit again to do this job. And I think uh, what allowed me to win and what allows me to continue to succeed is the power of my community and the power of uh, my story and knowing where I come from. And I really want y'all, as you move into these next chapters and stages of your lives, to continue to be unapologetic in who you are, where you come from, and the community that you're part of, because in social justice work, those are the only people that we are wholly accountable too. It is our community, and it is our people who have lifted us up to be here to where we are now. And whenever I'm engaging in change making work, I always reflect and take a step back and ask myself, how does this serve my community? And how does this help my community move forward? Um, I think it's incredibly important to stay grounded in that regard, because if we lose sight of why we do this work, and who we do this work for, then this work doesn't matter. Um, I also think that um, over my course of being an elected official, I've worked hard to dismantle the status quo of what we think politics looks like. I think a lot of us have this like idea that we forget that our elected officials work for us, and that like we shouldn't just be grateful for their work and what they do. But I think it's critically important to remember that we elect them, we our tax dollars pay them, and at the end of the day, they work for us. So it's important to push against that status quo, um, and organize within your community to remember that we have to hold our elected officials wholly accountable. Um, During my tenure here, I've held numerous town halls, and have really emphasized uh, me listening to the community instead of the community asking for them to be listened to. I think that that is vital because we have to begin repairing relationships between community organizers, elected officials, and the community that they serve, because that it is a key point into how change making is realized and actualized. Um, Additionally, into things that I'm doing at the moment, as Satir mentioned, I like to keep myself very busy. So in the middle of the pandemic, I have also just finished my first year of medical school. Uh, I am enrolled at the Johns Hopkins School of Public Health and the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine. I am a dually enrolled student, which means um, I'm getting my MD, MPH, my Master's of Public Health. And a lot of people ask me, what does medicine have to do with social justice, and any of that stuff? And I always say it has absolutely everything to do with social justice because as doctors, I believe it is wholly our responsibility to be the utmost advocates that we can be for our patients. And as a person of color, as a disabled person who has a lot of experience and has spent a lot of her life being in and out of the hospitals, I've seen the best of the healthcare system and I've seen the absolute worst of the healthcare system. And I think this would resonate with a lot of us where, especially being Black and Brown folk, we see that a lot of our elders and even ourselves have hesitancy going to the doctor and receiving medical care, whether it be because of lack of access or not feeling heard or represented or respected within the medical community. And a lot of the work that I do in my training to become a doctor is to help to dismantle those barriers. I also, at the same time, am learning how to become a doctor in Spanish. So I'm learning everything that I'm learning in English in a whole other language. Uh, Spanish is my first language, and it was important for me to be able to serve my community in that way, to be able to see patients from my community and have someone that not only is ready to listen to them and serve them, but it can understand them in a wholly empathic way, and to have them come into my future office and say like, I see you and I understand you. um and throughout my time in applying for medical school, I faced a lot of criticism from admissions boards saying, the only reason that I was getting into that school was because I was fitting a diversity quota, because of the color of my skin and the language that I speak and my disability. And it was a long, long process um, into vouching for myself and convincing people that my worth is more than just a statistic. I, when I step into a hospital, when I step into a clinic, I'm bringing years of experience as a patient. I'm bringing years of experience as a proud Latina, understanding what my community faces, um, and that uh, at the end of the day, uh, I am going into a system that has historically not cared about me or people who look like me or us. Um, but it's time to change the status quo, and it's time to turn the system on its head. And throughout my time um, learning how to be a doctor, I faced a lot of um, difficult moments and where I've treated patients and patients have chosen or have decided that they don't want to be treated by me because of my disability and how they feel that might impact the quality of their care. And I mentally prepared for that as much as I could. I understood that was a possibility. But it's definitely a lot harder when you hear it, face to face. Um, but at the same time, I've also had amazing experiences where I've been in clinic and there are patients with disabilities who come in. And for the first time ever, they see someone who looks like them. And that is that is an unbelievably powerful experience. It's also it is it is a point of redemption where we finally reach that full circle moment, um, to understand that we belong in every single space. There isn't one space that doesn't need our voice. There isn't one space that can't use our power, and there isn't one space where we can't thrive and be leaders. Um, One specific story I wanted to share was I was helping to treat some patients during the height of COVID in New York City. Um, I was uh, I was a uh, attending student physician um, at an urgent care type of facility, helping them to deal with the overflow of patients. And the patient comes in and she has a walker as her mobility device. Um, and I come into the room and I can see that she's so surprised to see that her physician for that day, physician in training, I should say, is in a wheelchair. And we have a little bit of conversation about how I got there and how she's really excited to be treated by me. And we go through her symptoms and we go through the reason why she's there. And I'm feeling really, really proud. I'm feeling really powerful to be in that space. And then my attending physician comes in, so basically my boss. And he, the whole vibe of the room shifts. And he looks at her chart and he completely starts treating her as if she's nothing but her diagnosis. Um, and the way that the hierarchy in medicine works is it's very strict. And like the minute that your attending comes in, it's like you move to the sidelines and you don't really say much. You're just learning and observing. And throughout this whole time that he was with her, I was struggling so much because she's more than her diagnosis. We all are. We all are more than just the labels that society puts on us. And I wanted so badly to say something. And I was debating the whole time, like, should I risk it? Should I risk, reprimandation or being sent home? Anything of that sort to say something to speak up for her. Um, and I could tell that during that whole time she was like so uncomfortable. And after a couple minutes of thinking about it, I finally said, doctor, I spoke to the patient prior to you coming in, and these are her concerns. This is the reason why she's here. And while I understand that her diagnosis is a part of who she is, that isn't the reason why she's here today. And she's more than just what you see on a piece of paper. And as I said that, I could see my patient's face completely light up. And she then said that she had felt uncomfortable during the period of time that my boss was speaking to her, and that she wished to just have the rest of her appointment with me. And my boss was completely taken aback. I don't think anybody had ever told him that before. Um, I myself was shocked, and I also was a little wavering on my confidence if I could, facilitate this appointment fully on my own. But I knew that she believed in me, and that I had a task at hand to step up to the plate of who she believed I could be, and who she and the care that she believed that she was able to receive from me. Um, and we had an excellent appointment. After my attending left the room, I spent 30 minutes with her, probably a lot longer than I should have. But then that experience has stayed with me for these past couple of months, and has reminded me that even in moments of doubt, you are always within your power, and your voice should never be silenced. So you should never let the fear of the status quo silence your voice, because when you're feeling called to speak up, and when you're feeling called to uh, call out injustice or call out something that's wrong, you should always do so. And that, you know, the power systems that be and the power structures that be, just because they've existed for years and years, doesn't mean that they should continue to exist in the way that they are. Um, and that representation at every single level matters. And even at my institution, at Johns Hopkins, it is an incredibly competitive school, and there are constantly times where I doubt my ability to be there. And there are people who will find joy in tearing you down and reminding you that you are just a little tiny speck in the spectrum of all the students there. But it's up to you if you decide to believe them. And I think that that's where the power comes from. You decide how you let yourself be defined. And only you can decide if you let someone take your power or you take your power back. And yeah, these are the stories I wanted to share with y'all today. Um, I wanted you to know and feel empowered that there's someone who comes from the same communities as y'all do, comes from very similar backgrounds as y'all do, in the White House, in the UN, in positions of power where we rarely see ourselves, and that I'm constantly pushing for our voices and for people who look like us to be more and more part of the conversation. And each of you should feel uniquely proud to have graduated, to be moving on to this next stage of your lives, and to know that, you know, each step that you take forward, you are just stepping more and more into your power, and that uh, you shouldn't let anyone silence you, and that you can accomplish anything that you set your mind to. And that if you're ever looking for proof of that, to know that I'm here, and that I'm pushing for us as a community, and that you are never alone. So I'm happy to take any questions if anyone has any. I've hoped you enjoyed me sharing these stories with you, sharing these outlooks with you. And just thank you for sharing this space with me. And know that even though I don't know each of you individually, I am wholly and fully proud of each of you. I believe in each of you. I believe in the power of each of your voices. And I am so excited to continue moving and working in this space of change making with you, and to see you become colleagues, and mentors to others, and just to continue shaking up the status quo, because that's where change happens.
Guys, you can put your questions in the chat if you have, or you can unmute. But goodness, you are amazing. Absolutely amazing. You're 23, correct?
Yes, I am. Thank you so
Superwoman, you
much.
are absolutely amazing. All the work that you've done, accomplished, and the work you still have yet to accomplish, whether it's in medicine or it's within the government system. Oh my goodness, you are dynamic. I hope everyone else feels the same because you're going places, and I just want to. I'll be like from my TV, I'll be watching you, and I'll be like, that's a
Oh, thank you so much. That means a lot to me. Yeah, this week in specific has been rough. I right before I spoke to you guys earlier today, I was having a meeting with some senators on Capitol Hill, a bunch of Republicans who are not my favorite people. And they there's some interesting folks that definitely a lot of whiteness there that makes you feel uncomfortable. And I think they were really shocked that I was the one leading the meeting. And during the whole time, I, they said their nice little prepared speeches, and I was like, okay, yeah, let's move on to the important part of this meeting. And at the end, I was like, none of you really care about your constituents, because if you did, you would be passing laws that were saving their lives instead of taking in money from organizations that don't care about them and that actively contribute to the racism and erasure of these communities. So I really don't care about your nice little speeches. And yeah, I said it more professional than that, obviously, but the sentiment was still the same. And I think it's really important to like, don't let these people make you feel afraid of them. They're not any better than you are. They're actually probably a lot worse than you are, because they've lost their ideals, they've lost their touch with humanity and the community. So I want you to know that if I can be sitting at these meetings, so can y'all be sitting at these meetings. There isn't anything that isn't possible for y'all. And that, just because I'm sitting in these positions of power doesn't mean that like, I'm not coming home, and like I'm still sitting here in my apartment in West Harlem. Like, we had a cookout yesterday, we had fireworks going off. Like, I'm still in the community that I'm from and the community that I'm serving. So not losing touch with who I am and where I come from is incredibly important. And to know that you don't have to, just because you're achieving levels of leadership doesn't mean that you have to disconnect from your community. I think a lot of times we feel that way. We have to like, it's like the proximity to whiteness that makes us successful. And like, that's not the case. It's being authentically and wholly as we are that makes us powerful. So yeah, please ask any questions if you have any, but also feel free to connect with me on social media. My website is just my name, daphneFierce.com. All my social links are there. I will follow y'all back, and my DMs are open. So feel free to ask any questions, to follow along on my journey. And yeah, just sending y'all a lot of light and love, and continue persevering through this really weird time that is the pandemic. And fingers crossed we're at the finish line. But yeah, I'm so proud of y'all. I I also missed my own graduation, so I totally know where y'all are feeling right now. So, but don't forget to take a moment to celebrate yourselves, pat yourself on the back, because you deserve it. And thank you so much for having me here today.
There is a question in chat.
Okay.
Kiara asked, where do you want to be in the next few years? And side note, your story is very inspiring.
Oh, thank you. Oh, what do I want to read in the next few years? So something that I do one of like my rituals for self-care that I do every month is at the beginning of the month I write myself an email, and in that email I write all the things that I want to accomplish this month, personally, professionally. Like, I'll even write like, oh, I want to go visit this restaurant, or like, oh, I want to have a meeting with this person. I put all my goals, whether it be like a tiny little goal or a really big goal, And then I also put like how I'm feeling and where I feel grounded at that current moment. And then I have it auto send to myself at the end of the month. So I get that email back to myself at the end of the month and I open it. And at the end of the month, I can reflect and I can see like how much did I accomplish? How many of my goals did I get to achieve? And it isn't so much about like being like, yeah, look at all the stuff I achieved. It's also about giving yourself grace and saying like, if I didn't get to achieve that goal, it's okay. I can just copy it, paste it onto the next month's email, and we continue working on that goal. And so I can check it off and be like, yeah, I did it. And it's to show yourself that like, even if you feel like you're not pushing and achieving goals, you're making little progress step by step. And I think in the spectrum of like youth organizing, we see a lot of like youth organizers who are popular and famous now, and there's a whole thing around that. But it isn't like that isn't the point of the organizing work. I think that that's just that's just a strange like side thing that comes with it. And it's important to remember that if social media didn't exist, if Twitter and Instagram and TikTok didn't exist, what would your work have to show for itself? And that what your work has to show for itself is how your community sees you and how your community is being impacted by your work. So this is why I always write down those goals to make sure that I'm pushing and contributing for my community. But in terms of where I see myself in the future, if medical school doesn't drain all of my soul first, I hope to finally become a doctor. And fingers crossed, I graduated at the top of my class this year. So with like Zoom and COVID and all that stuff, I somehow managed that. Props to my brain because I don't know how that happened. But um, so continue to finish med school. I got offered to finish my master's in France. So after 3 years, I will be moving to France and finish my master's there. Another side note, everyone always says that I'm like very extra and that I always like try to achieve the most. And it's like, yes, be that extra person, achieve the most, do the most because you deserve it. And I think a lot of times, especially for women, society and people around us try to tell us to be smaller and to be less. And I want you to know, like, don't be less, don't be smaller, be the most, be the biggest. And that's okay. And like, you should thrive and shine in that way. Um, Another goal, another a couple of things I have lined up for next year. I always like mood board for the year to come and like vision board. So I always set like yearly goals for what I want to achieve. And everything's kind of pushed back because of everything that happened. But one of the goals I set for myself was to have activists, have 8 activists be invited to the annual Met Gala that happens here in New York City, where we get all these beautiful fashion looks coming out from. But I think more importantly, I also wanted to use that platform and how can we change society to use every part of society to make a statement and to make a change. And I think that's incredibly important. So I'm happy to say that I got my invite and I got my invite for 7 other activists. So y'all see us on the Red Carpet Gala coming next year. And we will be, I've been working very closely with the Floyd family and with the Wright family, and I will be having, and the Taylor family, and I'll be having memorials of George, Dante, and Brianna on my outfit. And we will be making statements for Black Lives Matter, for gun violence prevention, for Indigenous communities. We will be representing as much as possible. So look out for that. And remember to keep dreaming the biggest dreams because if you told me 2 years ago I would be walking the Met Gala carpet, I would have laughed at you. So yeah, anything is possible. And yeah, thank you so much for that question. And I hope that inspires you and motivates you.
Thank you for your answer. Does anyone else have any more questions before we move on? Again, you can unmute or put in the chat. Okay. So if you do have any questions that you think of, I don't know, maybe in 2 hours, you're like, I wish I asked her. As she said, her DMs will be open. She'll probably check that out and be able to answer your questions, correct?
Yeah,
So
100%.
so don't be afraid of that. We put her Instagram in the chat so you can scroll up and you can get that and you can follow her. And follow her journey, I guess, on Instagram, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there's some exciting things coming up. I'm going to Miami in a couple weeks for an surprising award show, so you stay tuned for that. There's stuff moving and shaking everywhere. So and I also do a lot of like IGTV takeovers and stuff like that. So if any of you have stories you want to share, if you want to use my platform to share something that's important to you, reach out to me, DM me, and we can totally set that up. And I can give y'all my account for the day, and you can just share your magic and wonderfulness with my people. So yeah, my platform is yours, because if it wasn't for my community, I wouldn't be here. So I'm happy to share anything and everything with y'all. So please don't be a stranger. Please don't hesitate to reach out. And I hope y'all have a great rest of your toast and rest of your Sunday. And like, keep on pushing, keep on being amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's so amazing.
Bye. Thank you. Have a great one, guys.
You too.
Bye.
Now we're gonna hand this part of the event over to Asha. And we're gonna prepare for our toast.
Guys, I've been here in the background silently cheering you on, but then putting you in breakout rooms, making sure all the tech is working okay. First, I want to say that I'm so proud of each and every one of you here, from the fellow interns down to our 8th graders, our 12th graders, and our workshop instructors, and our fantastic, mind-blowing keynote speaker. You all are here when you can be doing so many other things. So thank you guys for coming out. Chance to toast yourself, to share something that you're super proud of yourself for accomplishing this year, or just an encouraging message you want to share with everyone that you've gotten to know today.
Today, I'm thankful that we were all able to gather together and learn about empowering each other and affirmations and budgeting and all that. So I'm going to toast to that.
Here's to new experiences, here's to new friends, here's to new networking opportunities, here's to new learning opportunities. It was a great brunch. I had fun. So I just want to cheers all of you amazing women.
I guess I'll go next. I want to cheer Asha, and I want to cheer everybody in the internship, because I'm so proud of us, because I think today was amazing. So there.
Cheers to finding our better selves and actually going out there and trying to seek the best for us, and all being girl bosses and doing what we do best and looking for a better future with women and Black women and empowerment and it all.
This event has been amazing because you all are amazing. I'm so impressed by you showing up, not only just showing up, but showing up amazingly, beautifully, all you, and taking a stand. And everything that Daphne had mentioned, I see in all of you. And I'm so excited to see where life takes you. And I'm so grateful to know you. So cheers to you.
I just want to say cheers to all of our achievements, whether it's because you graduated, which is all of us, or you got scholarships, or you got into that school that you didn't know was going to accept you, or just anything. You've gone into public school, just whatever it is for you, just, you know, your brag. And I just want to cheers to that.
But congratulations, everyone. Bye.